Now it's time to turn the page. Let's move on to week number 9. Here are your nominees for the Friday Night Phenoms, presented by MTD Products in Shelby. We begin with a flat-out gargantuan performance in a big-time rivalry game. That's right, the little engine that can, Connor Morris, 40 carries. He got into the end zone 3 times, almost broke 2 bills on the night. G-Man, you saw it with your own eyes. This kid was the most electric player on the football field against St. Paul. This Cougar's the real deal.
He's typically the best player to step on the field whenever the Cougars hide out on Friday or Saturday night. This dude lives in the end zone. We talked about it all broadcast, Brian. He's the definition of a one-cut back. Puts his foot in the ground, hits the hole, and is ready to run someone over. And that's not typical for a guy his size to want physical contact, but Morse lives for it. And shout out to the Crestview Cougars. They picked up a big win over St. Paul for the first time in 10 years since 2011.
Whew, yeah, can you imagine waiting that long to finally taste victory against your arch nemesis rival? Thanks to Connor Morris, that's what the Cougars were able to do. East Knox also scored a big win on Friday night, and Peyton Lester, a major reason why. 10 of 14, just a $132, but he got one into the end zone, and then he doesn't always run, but when he does, he's pretty effective. 7 carries, 53 yards for him. Just an overall game-changing type of player, Hayden, and he got it done again Friday night.
Yeah, again, you see the dynamic playmaking
Wow.
of Peyton Lester, man. You see he shakes off 4 or 5 different guys and still gets back to the line of scrimmage. He doesn't have to put up massive numbers for them to get the job done. He's a good decision maker out there, doesn't turn the ball over, and obviously led a big comeback. You know, they were down to Highland for most of this ball game, able to come back and win by 6, and that's someone that East Knox is lucky to have making decisions for them as they move forward.
Yeah, teardrop out of the sky on that one right there. Beautiful touchdown. Andrew Fanello returns to the lineup and immediately making an impact for the Lucas Cubs. Every time he touched the rock, he was doing something great. 82 yards rushing, 95 receiving, got into the end zone on a reception too, Travis. This guy really does help the pulse thump a little bit harder and louder down there in Cubs country. He is a huge difference maker for him.
And you got to think, if he wasn't injured 2 weeks ago, I believe Lucas would still be undefeated. But that's all right, because Lucas still has a chance to being #1 in the region and getting 2 home games. And he's going to be one of the main reasons why they're going to be able to compete with Mogador next week. A big test for the Cubs, but with Andrew Finella in the backfield, they have a chance.
I think that this is a team that needs 2 quality running backs to truly be successful. He's part of that big 1-2 punch. In Orville, Sawyer Humphrey, wide receiver, had a bunch of catches on the night. 162 yards. 4 of those got into the end zone. And oh, by the way, how about doing it defensively too? An interception and a fumble recovery. This checks every box on the stat sheet.
Yeah, and this was coming from Andy Jardy. That was the best performance he's seen all year by a football player. And coming from Andy Jardy, that's saying something. But he was just, like you said, lights out. He went ham, 9 catches, 162, 4 touchdowns, and a couple big plays in the second half. It looked like Loudonville was going to come back and make this a game. He recovered a fumble on the goal line, and then later, as you see right here, a big interception to really set up a touchdown that broke the backs of the Redbirds.
And our final nominee back on the list. Only took 1 week off. He was in hibernation, but Marshall Shepard's back, boys. 400-yard performance again, and 6 more touchdowns. It seems like he's doing that just about every time he makes it on the countdown storm. This guy is putting up numbers at a record pace all year long.
Oh, yeah, just another typical week for Marshall Shepard. He also had 1 touchdown on with his legs as well, 2-yard run, but I mean, this is just another week for him, pretty much just a little break last week, like you said, but back to normal business for Marshall Shepard.
Another huge performance by the senior gunslinger of the Shelby Whippets. And, just doing what he does. I don't know how else you can really say it against good competition, too. River Valley came into the game. They were right there in the middle of the pack for the MOAC, and Marshall Shepard, with a huge performance, shut him down. Make sure that you vote online each week on the YouTubes, Twitters, Facebook, and Instagram.